Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Unrestricted Sports. Today we're talking PLL. I forgot the day already. PLL Day 5. This is just the delayed game between Chaos and Redwoods in what was a relatively underwhelming match, but finally saw the Redwoods get their first win in an OT thriller. The thriller coming in the fourth quarter and overtime and nowhere else in the game. I don't have much to say on this game. Everything I've said about the Chaos still holds true in what is a very underperforming, underwhelming team that only has a good goalie. Obviously, their faceoffs went well again, 12 for 17, but that doesn't mean much, strictly because the Redwoods faceoff sucks, similar to that of the Atlas this year. But yeah, besides that, I don't have much to say on the Chaos, so I'll let Ben take it away with the Redwoods.
The lowest scoring game in PLL history. Also, the first game of the 2020 PLL Championship Series to go into OT. So that was pretty interesting. Lots of firsts. Also, Blaze Reardon set a record saves for the league with, I thought it was 22, but the PLL site credits him with 23. So, lots of firsts for this game. And also, the first win for the Redwoods. Pretty annoyed it took so long. We've been slacking off a lot. But it's also interesting that we were able to beat the Chaos without a key component of our defense, as Garrett Eppel was suspended for one game for his cross checks to Matt Gaudet's head. So, just to break down some of who the big players were, again, the stat lines weren't all that crazy considering it was the lowest scoring game in PLL history. But we had a bit of a comeback game for Miles Jones. 1 goal, 2 assists. So that's 3 points. Ryder Garnsey also had 2 goals. So it's nice to see him starting to ramp up his development. One of those goals was an overtime winner. And besides that, there's not too much to mention besides stellar play by Tim Troutner with a 71 save percentage. Both he and Blaze Reardon made some crazy saves right towards the end of the game, especially in the fourth quarter and overtime. They were making crazy saves to keep their respective teams in it. Once again, Redwood's face-off was absolute garbage. Peyton Smith went 2 for 9, or 22%, and Greg Pasculjan went 3 for 8, or 38%. So really disappointing face-offs, phenomenal goaltending, and a little bit of a bounce back from some players who we were expecting to break out a little earlier, in Miles Jones and Ryder Garnsey.
I'm a little surprised, honestly. I agree with everything you said about the Redwoods. Definitely good to see Ryder Garnsey kind of come to life. But when it comes to the Chaos, I'm a little surprised just to see Connor Fields. In his first, two games this year, he has 4 goals and an assist. Averaging 2 goals a game. But what was a stellar season from him last season, it seems like he's on the decline. Not even to mention the play of Jake Fricaro. I feel like, all the hype that was around the Chaos, with the bomb squad and all that high scoring, or maybe not high scoring, but I don't know what the right word is to describe it, I guess.
The 2 bombs?
Yeah, but I feel like that's just lacking this season. All that hype that was there is gone. I don't know why. It might have something to do with the absence of Miles Jones. But at this rate, I would just probably pin it on the Chaos just not being able to keep up with other teams in the league.
Yeah, I said this earlier when we did our breakdown of teams before the season started, but I just don't really see how the Chaos are going to be contenders in any fashion. I think they had a weird thing where they had a pretty good team that just fell short like last season. And it seems like Andy Towers went for a pseudo rebuild, which I really don't understand. So, I guess we'll have to see how they continue to play, but so far I've not been impressed. But at the same time, I haven't been impressed with the Redwoods, and I mean, maybe they're going to turn it around here. Get a good win under their belt, but then they got to play the Atlas, and although the Atlas have the same record, I feel like they've struggled a little less than the Redwoods. So it'll be interesting to see how that game shakes out and how this all wraps up going into seeding for the elimination round.
Yeah, just wrapping up here, Redwoods Chaos. Looking at the next couple of games for them, you have the Chaos moving on to play the Whip Snakes tomorrow. There's no doubt in my mind the Whip Snakes will win that game by a landslide. Looking at the Redwoods, next game they play the Atlas. That'll prove to be a thriller. If there's any game where Trevor Baptiste is going to come to life, it is this game against the Redwoods. So I'm a little happy.
Yeah.
I'm a little happy it's happening at this time. But at the end of the day, it truly does not matter. These four games, if you're not undefeated at this point, it doesn't matter what place you end in. Really, you're making the playoffs either way. And with how good every team is, or not how good every team is, but with how much skill is on each team, you're bound to at least stand a chance.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that really matters is getting a bye for being first overall, so you don't have to worry about playing a play-in game. But besides that, I mean, I think the only thing you have to worry about is making sure that you're coming into the elimination round hot. So, if anything, I prefer to kind of follow the pattern that the Redwoods are doing, where they lose the first couple, but then each game get a little bit better. So hopefully they come out much stronger against Atlas and can kind of get some energy, and we'll see if Chaos can turn their season around. I kind of doubt it, though. I feel like the Whip Snakes are pretty dominant right now.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, at the time of recording, we have just finished up Atlas Whips. That blowout win for the Whip Snakes. So I guess we will just move on to that, seeing that this Chaos Redwoods game was a pretty simple topic to cover. So quickly, game note on that. I guess more so just a note on the whole league is I've noticed a lot that there are a lot of crease dive goals. And I noticed specifically in this Atlas Whip Snakes game that there were a few crease dive goals that resulted in, or that either resulted in a goal or a save, but either way there was a flag thrown for a penalty on the defense. So in my opinion, when somebody's diving into your goalie's crease, most defensemen are probably going to get more physical than if you're just dodging around X. So I've noticed that the refs tend to throw a boatload of flags when it comes to that aspect, and not saying that it lost the Atlas this game because the Whip Snakes handled them, but that was just something I noticed for both teams, and I think that's something that needs to become a more consistent call and not called as much, because if you're going to dive into the crease and take the risk to dive into the crease, you have to expect some sort of backlash from the defenders.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. I mean, I don't know how I feel about the reffing. I mean, obviously it's hurt the Redwoods a couple times, but I also feel like just as a general whole, it hasn't been really consistent or nearly up to the level that it was last year. I felt like last year the refs did a phenomenal job, and honestly, it could be the heat. Like these refs, I don't know if you guys have been seeing, but teams may be struggling because of the heat. I mean, I think the announcer said it was somewhere around 135 on the field for most of these games. It's really, although it's a dry heat, it's really hot down in Salt Lake City, Utah, and especially on this field where you're just getting baked in the heat. And if any of you guys have played on AstroTurf before, AstroTurf just makes that heat 10 times worse.
Yeah. So I think it's really easy to cover the Whip Snakes in this game. Just about nothing wrong. In fact, I have nothing wrong that I wrote down. Their face-off was dominant again. They had a 5-0 run at the end of the first half. That was huge for them. Their defense played well, proving that keeping defense over their high-powered offense was the right move. So that's about it for the Whip Snakes. Notable players for them were Lacrosse had a couple of had a goal. Carlson had
Zed Williams.
Carlson had 4. Zed Williams had 2 again.
5 points.
Granted, Carlson had most of his goals were just crease rebounds kind of a thing, but just crazy play from him and Zed Williams, which really attests to the Whipsnakes' ability to lose so many key offensive players and recover in such great fashion.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I was surprised they didn't sub Joe Nardella and Kyle Bernlohr out earlier, but they gave him a bit of a break at the end.
Yeah.
But still, Joseph McCallion, Nardella's backup, went in and still went 2 for 3 or 67%, which, while it's a small sample pool, is still pretty solid.
Yeah.
Again, especially against Trevor Baptiste.
I don't think it was he. Did he face off against Baptiste, or was it?
I think he did 1 against Callum Robinson and then 2 against Baptiste.
Yeah.
Because Baptiste came back on the field. Baptiste looking like a Redwoods face-off specialist.
Yeah, tell me about
5 for 19, 26%.
Yeah.
Seems like he's had not as great of a season as he did last time. Which,
yeah.
I mean, it's hard to live up to a phenomenal season like he had last year.
Right.
But still, not really in the Trevor Baptiste ballpark. I think he may have dropped below 50% now because of this game.
Yeah. Definitely not an impressive performance from the Atlas all around, including Trevor Baptiste. But I'm just kind of going to go on a little bit of a rant here on the Atlas. I'm quite frustrated with the play that they offered against the Whip Snakes. I mean, there was just awful shots on offense. They shot 14% on 43 shots. Whips had the same amount of shots and they scored 15 goals. I mean, you could pull but Kincannon isn't as good as Bernlohr, but it's not like Kincannon's a trash goalie. He's a top 3 goalie in the PLL. And there's no doubt in that. It was just a defensive problem. But more so offensively for the Atlas, it was just horrible passing. They were either wasting all their time just waiting for somebody to get open, and then they'd shoot at the end of the shot clock, or they just rush in there and shoot the ball as fast as they could to not burn the shot clock. Paul Rabel,
Hey, can we just give a quick shout out to Paul Rabel?
Yeah, first goal. 21 shots or something like that to get 1 goal. Jesus.
Dude, I think it's more, but the website has him at 15 shots.
That's no way.
Such shit.
Yeah.
That's no way. And even at 15 shots, he's shooting 7%.
Yeah.
It's clearly a worse percentage. I think he's probably shooting 2% or something.
But Paul Rabel in this game, I liked his goal. It honestly, before this game, I was like, Paul Rabel needs to stop playing as much. They need to let Romar Dennis and Connor Bushek just play more than Rabel. But his goal was good. He powered through defenders. The one-hand shot, it was a great shot. But at the end of the first half, there was like 30 seconds left on the clock, and he dodges to the net. Clearly doesn't have a chance to shoot, but tries to shoot, and then misses the net by a mile. And it was just like, Paul, like, it's 8-3. Why are you taking that shot? You're giving them, A, another chance to go back down offense and score. And B, you had 30 seconds. If you're going to waste time in a possession, this would be the possession to do it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
It's just inexcusable play from who's considered to be the best player in lacrosse. Like, come on. Like, no hate towards him because he's had quite the career.
And I mean, the PLL exists because of him. But I mean, if you're struggling, you can't just keep pushing it. I think that's when you kind of have to defer to your teammates, and it seems like he's being a little selfish.
I mean, you truly hate to see it because it is quite unfortunate, but it's just one of those things where if you truly want to win that PLL championship, you got to do something. Scotty Rogers, however much credit he wants to take for Costamule's success, knows his role on the team. He shuts his mouth, screams when the defense is playing, and is vocal in the locker room. And if that needs to be Paul Rabel's role to have the Atlas win, then he needs to recognize that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's a leader on the team. I mean, he's good at giving speeches, good at getting guys fired up. Just maybe he needs to take a little bit of a more relief. Needs to pick his shots a little bit better. But I totally get the frustration of just trying to get one. So maybe that one goal will snap this kind of drought, if you will.
Yeah, that's the hope. I have a quick question, actually. So the Atlas attack is a relatively strong group of attackmen. Rob Pennell, Eric Law, Ryan Brown, Chris Cloutier, most notably. It blows my mind how little Ryan Brown is actually getting a chance to do what Ryan Brown does best. And granted, he has 15 shots, 4 goals. I'm not going to say Rob Pennell isn't helping the Atlas, because he is. He quarterbacks that Atlas offense. But Ryan Brown is good. Like, Rob Pennell doesn't need to get the ball at X every possession. It clearly hasn't worked. You have 4 other all-world attackmen who could quarterback an offense from X if they needed to. It just blows my mind. Obviously, Rob Pennell is the best or one of the best quarterback attackmen, if you will, in the league. But again, 2 goals on 17 shots is close to that of Paul Rabel. Now, obviously, I don't want Rob Pennell out on offense or out of the game, because a lot of his shots come towards the end of shot clock, where it's just he's getting the ball from the end line, has 3 seconds to get to the cage and rifle a shot. So half the time it's just one-handed wrap around the defender type of shot. But it just blows my mind the weapons that the Atlas have, and they're just being underutilized.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to criticize Rob Pennell too much. I mean, although he doesn't have the goals like he normally would, he's still tied for first place with 9 points. I mean, obviously that's going to change. I'm sure Grant Emmett will score some more goals in the game that's currently going on. But I mean, he's got 7 assists. So while he might be lacking a little bit in shooting, more than he usually does, I still think that he's pulling defensive matchups and creating mismatches for other guys on that attack and midfield, and dishing the pass out to let those guys thrive.
Yeah. Last note I have on the Atlas is just their inability to really clear the ball in front of the crease. Like I mentioned, Carlson had many opportunities in front of the Atlas goal and capitalized on 4 of them. And there was just like 0 defenders in sight. Like, that is it's just brutal play. I don't want to say that with Tucker Durkin back they had to adjust, because that's definitely not the case. But maybe Caleb Robinson's role is now where Tucker Durkin's playing, or something of that sort. So, again, it's one of those things that the Atlas needs to fix, but probably won't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to point out real quick, I don't know how many goals Rambo had today, but one of them, he literally took a stroll around the crease and just dunked it in for Max.
Yeah.
No slides.
Yeah.
The Atlas defense, like, it absolutely baffled me. It looked like they had just, like, given up and laid down and died.
Yeah.
Because not a single one of them moved to the defending MVP of the championship, of the reigning champs. So,
yeah.
I mean,
some questionable play.
Again, it was already after they were kind of getting blown out, so maybe they were a little out of the game at that point, but still, you can't let that happen.
Yeah. Moving on, Whip Snakes will take on the Chaos Friday night in what should be a guaranteed win for them. Nothing too impressive coming from the Chaos. In terms of the Atlas, like we've mentioned, they move on to play the Redwoods in what should be a competitive game with hopefully Trevor Baptiste being dominant. This is the game for him to really pick it up because the Redwoods face-off guys are worse.
Yeah. He actually did fall below 50. He's at 45% right now.
Okay. Yeah, definitely an interesting season for Trevor Baptiste to have. Unexpected, to say the least.
Yeah, I thought he was going to come back and dominate.
Agreed. Well, on that note, I believe that is all we will have. There will be another episode coming out relatively soon, covering the currently going on, if that's how it's said in English, Archers versus Chrome. Yeah, ongoing game. We will cover that in a future episode for Archers Chrome in what should be a very interesting competitive game. But we will definitely keep you guys posted. So thanks again, Ben, for coming on, and we greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
He will obviously be back for the prolonged future of the PLL Championship Series. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out Ben on Instagram at Full Tilt Lacrosse. Check out Unrestricted Sports on Instagram at Unrestricted Sports to keep you guys updated on all the posted videos. So again, thanks for watching. See you guys.